think we're live, or alive, according to the dashboard on the side there. Where's the screen gone? Whoops. So, good evening, everybody. Sorry it's late, but I just thought I'd share a few things with you. I've got quite a few things here, actually. A lady in the group a couple of weeks ago, or about a month or so ago, she actually messaged me and told me that she had a collection of stuff from WA, newspaper articles regarding sightings over there. Some of them go right back to the 60s, I think. They're pretty good. There's a fair variety of stuff. One of them, I discovered a story somewhere online a few years back about a video that a police officer took when he was on holiday with his wife. G'day, Craig. How are you, mate? And kids. And yeah, they filmed this animal. I'm just going to see if I can find that particular article. And it was about a 6-second video. And the photo in the article I put up earlier on today was not from that video. That was just another ambiguous photo from Western Australia from the 1980s, I think that one was. There's so many here. Look at this. Woman tells of tiger in the bush. So, whoops, hang on, where's the camera? There we go. You know, there's a whole heap of stuff here. I'll read you this one anyway, just because I've pulled it out. A West Pingelly woman has given the Fisheries and Fauna Department a factual description of what is believed to be a Western Australian thylacine, or Tasmanian tiger, she encountered on a country road. Mrs. N.F. Hemery first saw the animal as she was driving a station wagon along a 3-mile stretch of private road. Now, her whole sightings there, when was this? The Sunday Times, December the 3rd, 1972. Wow. A long time ago. So, with her 2 children aged 10 and 8, she saw it step onto the road from the right-hand side and walk slowly towards the car. It did not appear to have noticed us because it kept looking at the bushes and sniffing the ground, she said. As it got closer, I realised it was not a dog and that it had a big black nose. I applied the brakes, which squeaked, and the animal looked up. The animal gave the appearance of being blind and stood looking at us before springing around in its tracks and moving down the centre of the road sideways. This gave us a better look at the shape, size and colouring. We saw it was completely strange. I put my foot on the accelerator, nearly stalling the car. As we drew near, it jumped to the left-hand side of the road. The children saw it in the cleared paddock through a gap in the scrub. So we all watched until it entered bush, where it stopped in turn and watched us. As Mrs. Hemery and the 2 children watched the animal, they talked about what they saw. The head was big and square-looking, with a big black spot on the nose like a koala. The tail was shaped like a kangaroo, and the hind legs moved like a kangaroo, the front legs like a galloping horse. The length from head to tail was more than the width of the station wagon. The height, it's a bit worn here, about 2 feet. Colouring was hard to describe. Light honey about the ears, deepening to a brown towards the tail. A shadow effect of stripes merged on the hindquarters to darker colour, deepening to black. The stripes ran down the body and legs. The tail, close in length to that of the body, was striped with a black tip. The feet were big, and this was confirmed by the footprints. The underside of the body was very light in colour. The animal gave them time to note these facts and disappeared in the bush. Mrs. Hemery contacted Mr. Les Moss, the West Fingerley fauna warden, and he showed the family a picture of a Tasmanian tiger. We agreed that this was our animal, she said. Mr. Moss took plaster casts of the tracks and spent the next week searching the area. So in 1972, it would appear that the Western Australian Fisheries and Fauna Board collected some evidence of plaster casts. Interesting. The area of bush where the animal was seen goes in a strip for about 5 miles onto a ridge which borders about 3,000 acres of bush and includes Forest Department land. Mrs. Hemery says no one is sure what else lies in this area because the only local people who have been there are firefighters. A few months later, her brother was confronted by an animal while chasing sheep in the same area. He said he got such a fright that he forced to have a close look, but was sure it was not a fox or a dog. Mrs. Hemery, a farmer's daughter, has lived in the area all her life. She said when her father started to clear his farm 35 years ago, many strange things happened with the stock. Full-grown sheep were mauled, large lambs killed, and even stock disappeared without a trace. Sorry if that was a bit drawn out, me trying to read that, but as you can see, the colour of the paper, well, you might not see it in this light, but the colour of the paper is very orangey. It's so old, 1972 that newspaper article was. Death of a dog and tiger hunt. Here's a young lad that's seen one. The one that got away. Him and his schoolmates. There's another story there. I mean, I love this sort of stuff. This is just awesome. This is really important bits of history that have managed to survive all these years. Hunt on for our Tasmanian wolf, the West Australian, Saturday, October the 15th, 1983. So that's getting a bit later with that one. I'm not going to read that one to you. But anyway, I'll just see if I can find this one with this picture. Beware of tiger, says Bushman. Bob Williamson of Rivervale said the animal was probably fast, dangerous and unpredictable. Some awesome stuff here. Wow. Tasmanian tiger not extinct. Official. From Hobart. So, let's get this right. So this is the West Australian, Friday, January the 20th, 1984. The same year that Kevin Cameron took his photos in Western Australia, and 2 years after or 18 months after Hans Narding had his famous sighting in his four-wheel drive. Hans Narding, of course, was the National Parks and Wildlife Service ranger, so his sighting was accepted. So 2 years before extinction was declared, here we have it officially being saying that it wasn't extinct. And I'm going to say this has probably got something to do with Nick Mooney. Let's have a read. Hobart, an official sighting of the Tasmanian tiger feared extinct for 48 years was disclosed yesterday by the State National Parks and Wildlife Service. The tiger was seen 18 months ago by a ranger in forest country in the state's northwest, according to National Parks and Wildlife Service Chief Wildlife Officer Rod Pearce. So it's not Nick stating this, it's Rod Pearce. The ranger was parked in his car at night doing some other work when he saw it in his spotlight, said Mr. Pearce. It wasn't a fleeting glimpse. He had a good look at the animal. Mr. Pearce said it was one of a number of good sightings of the tiger in the past few years, but it was the only one by a ranger. Since then, the service had mounted a project to investigate the sighting, but had found no trace of the animal. The Tasmanian tiger was last seen alive in the Hobart Zoo, where the last captive specimen died in September 1933, it's saying here, but we know it to be 1936. Mr. Pearce said that the service would not disclose the name of the ranger who made the sighting, nor would it specify the area where it was made. The tiger must have as much protection as possible, he said. We don't want all sorts of people going out and looking for it. After the sighting, the National Parks and Wildlife Service mounted a special search. Rangers have combed creek banks and muddy areas for footprints, but Mr. Pearce said the search had been fruitless and no tracks had been found. The project will run till the end of summer and then it will be reviewed, he said. A private expedition in search of the tiger was announced last month by wildlife park operator Peter Wright of Mole Creek. And American television network head Ted Turner made an offer of $100,000 for proof that a tiger had been seen when he was in Hobart last month. So there's that infamous Ted Turner offer. G'day Ian, g'day Glennis, Amanda Simpson. On their way to Perth 20-30 years ago. Very good. Be happy to have a chat to them or have a read of what they saw. What's on this page here? Dog. This one might be a dud. Oh no, tiger from, what's this one say? From Myalup. Tiger report from Myalup. A man reported yesterday that he had seen an animal he believed to be a Thylacine Tasmanian tiger on a Myalup farm 6 weeks ago. Mr. Tom Offer, 21, of Bunbury, said the animal appeared on his fiancee's property just before dusk. It was about 150 metres from the farmhouse and we could see it quite clearly with the naked eye, he said. It was fully grown, bigger than a fox, and moved with a strange gait. And there's that strange gait that every witness that sees one of these things usually mentions. Mr. Offer said that he did not report the sighting at the time because people just say you are inventing a story like this and laugh at you. Mrs. Marie Jackson of Yarloop said yesterday that she shot an animal that she believed was a thylacine near the Murray River about 50 years ago. 2 years ago, a neighbour had seen an animal answering the description near her farm. Mrs. Jackson, who has spent most of her life in the district, said she believed it was possible that thylacine could still be present in the southwest. So there's another story of one being shot on the mainland. That's not the first time we've had one of those. Here's another one with a tiger sighting near Myalup. And this one is from January the 30th, 1984. Still 2 years before Dr. Archer's really dodgy paper for extinction was authored and accepted as some sort of scientific fact. But yeah, not to worry. Mystery animals terrorise farms. WA Black Panther theory. November 1972. So all you people over in WA would be very familiar, I suppose, with most of these place names. I'm not very familiar with place names in WA. Tiger seen in the bush. Elusive Nannup tiger has been sighted twice in the Manjimup area. This one hasn't got a date, unfortunately, but I'm going to say it's probably also the 70s. I'll keep soldiering on. I want to find this photo for you and show you this photo. Tiger type dies on road. A Querating man has killed an animal that he believes could be mistaken for a Tasmanian tiger. We might have another article on that one from a couple of years ago. Somewhere. Nannup tiger may be a Tasmanian tiger. Good old Nannup tiger. Everybody over there has a story about tigers pretty much. When we went there a few years back. That's where we released our documentary and where I got to know Wendy Slee a bit more. And we had a great time over in Nannup. The pub was very tigery. This one's about... Someone's found some skulls here. There's a bit of reading there. I'll put that one down. We'll keep looking, keep looking, keep looking. Here's Ripley's Believe It or Not. Even Ripley's got a mention. How cool is that? There is just so much good stuff in this envelope. What's this one? Aha! Found it! So I'm going to read it to you, then I'll show you the picture. It's it's ambiguous, but I'm well known for ambiguous photos, yeah? So, excuse me, I just need a drink. Some peach iced tea cordial. Okay, 6-second movie film. So it was November 1972. 6-second movie film may show WA tiger, a dog-like creature. A movie film was shown to the Sunday Times this week of what is believed to be a West Australian thylacine or Tasmanian tiger. The 6-second film showing a dog-like creature running across an open stretch of ground was taken by amateur naturalist Archie Anderson of Bicton. The 8mm colour film clearly shows the action of the animal as it runs in an arc from the camera. The gait has a peculiar cantering effect, the back legs coming down at the same time and the front legs used alternately. The animal pauses for a moment and looks at the camera before disappearing in the bush. Mr. Anderson, a police officer at Victoria Quay, said the film was taken 3 years ago, a few miles south of Carnarvon. So that would have made it 1969. So I was right, it was in the late 60s. He was returning from a holiday in the north with his wife, Iris, Mr. and Mrs. Robert Moore, and their daughter of Bassendean. They stopped the car after passing a strange-looking animal on the roadside. The animal was about 15 foot off the road, and the idea was to back the car slowly so as not to frighten it, said Mr. Anderson. As Bob bent down to pick up his camera, I thought he was opening... What does that say? I thought he was opening Mal. Not sure what that means. All I could do was to press the button on my camera as the animal moved off. Bob did the same, but his film came out blank. Mr. Anderson said they all had a clear view of the animal and they were nearly certain it had stripes. The animal was in poor condition and appeared to be thin and hungry. The tail was stiff and thick and it had big ears thickly made. It had a peculiar gait with its back legs coming together as it ran. The closest living animal in comparison was the hyena. I hope this film will make people think that there is something unusual in the bush, he said. The film sequence was also shown to farmer naturalist Ian Offer of Bangor, who has made a list of tiger sightings over the last few years. Mr. Offer commented, "This is the best recorded evidence that the tiger exists in WA. No normal animal can run in that manner. The way it loped along with its back legs and front legs not coordinated indicated it." The door. Okay. I'll read that again. The way it loped along with its back legs and front legs not coordinated indicated it. Unfortunately, I opened the door and this frightened off the animal and it was a marsupial. I believe it is only a matter of time before a tiger is found in WA. Mr. Anderson has been taking film of wildlife for many years. He and his wife Iris have been keeping a sanctuary for injured and neglected animals in their home at Preston Point. Wildlife lovers have come to regard Mrs. Anderson almost as a patron saint of WA's creatures of the bush. Then it says extinct with a question mark as a subtitle. The Tasmanian tiger is believed to be extinct on the Australian mainland for 10,000 years. Tasmanian country people refer to it as the tiger because of the 16 to 18 stripes across the lower back. It is a marsupial with a kangaroo-like rump and tail. The early Tasmanian settlers nearly exterminated the tiger because apparently it found sheep and poultry easier prey than wildlife. It is now so rare that there has been no official sighting for many years. The last live specimen died in a zoo in 1937. Its scientific name, Thylacine cynocephalus, means the pouched dog with the wolf head. So, because this was 1972, this was pre-extinction, being declared in 1986. But just from a couple of articles here that I've read to you, it's really obvious that this animal wasn't extinct. Hans Narding's story alone was enough to stop extinction, and here you have someone from basically the national parks in Tassie saying they believe the sighting and it's not extinct. So why did it become extinct? And people sort of say, why do you keep doing this? Well, there's just an obvious corruption of scientific process here that hasn't been applied, and clearly Dr. Archer got it incredibly wrong when he hurriedly put his opinion-based paper through to the IUCN. And I've got to doubt the credibility of the IUCN, frankly, to even accept that paper as being a scientific document, because it's just not. It's all based on Dr. Archer's opinion. But yeah, that was declared extinct because of his paper. So I'll show you this photo here. Now, it's not going to come up real good because it's a bit blurry anyway, because it's a frame from a film and this thing was moving. The interesting thing is, so you look at the tail, doesn't look too thylacine-like. You look at the back, hocks, you're going to say, oh, they're too big to be a thylacine, it's a fox. But there's a description of the footage, how someone watched it, and they basically described a perfect thylacine gait from what they've described from that film. So someone from the newspapers watched the video and given us a really accurate description of what they saw. There's the animal there, right, from the article. I'll scan this later and see if we can't get a better copy of it happening online. I tried years ago to get hold of Mr. Anderson and his video, or his film. It was on 8mm film. Sadly, I think he's passed away well before I got onto that story, and we sort of hit a dead end. We found the area, the house where the sanctuary that they had used to be. But yeah, they were all moved on. So I don't know what happened to the original film, whether the fisheries has it or the museum or one of the universities has it. It'd be great to see it unearthed because it's describing that gate. Now, Paul Day's footage from South Australia from 2017 has that gate perfectly, where it's got that peculiar back foot where they basically skip like a rabbit almost at the back, but they're running with the front feet. It's the most peculiar thing. But anyway, there's a little bit of an insight into some of the stuff that I get. What else have we got? Oh, we've got some print casts here. Someone that actually got some... Oh, this is actually Kevin Cameron and his son. Wow, how cool is that? Look at that. Rest in peace, Kevin. What a great man. He did some good work. There's some print casts for you. Those splayed toes... quite clearly. Any Indigenous people, I hope you're not offended by me putting this image up of Kevin, but it's purely out of respect for the work that he did. He copped a flogging from the media and the scientific community in 1984, and then we discovered last year that he actually passed away a couple of years ago. So, man did a fantastic job and got some great images that have gone down in history as being... somewhat controversial due to ignorance, I suppose, more than anything. But I'm quite convinced that he never did a damn thing wrong, and he never shot any animals either, because we would have had a body. It's that simple. And he was hired by the government to prove the thylacine existed, or to, investigate all of these wild dog sightings, and it turned out that he proved thylacines existed, and he got a bollocking from the media for it. So kudos to you, Mr. Cameron, and the work that you did with the Slee family, and it's way overdue that they acknowledged your work and came forward and just admitted that the animal's not extinct in WA or any other state of Australia. It's such a load of crap. But anyway, there's a nice little way to finish it, giving Kevin Cameron's work a bit of a plug. So, anyway, I'm going to stop the video now, and I'll answer some of your comments if there's any questions there in the comments. Thanks for tuning in, everybody who's tuned in. And hope you enjoyed that. Here's another one here with some stuff about Kevin and Wendy's brother, Ian, back in the day, and one of their dogs out on the hunt looking for thylas. Like ghosts don't leave footprints all over Australia that match up. Yeah. But if you listen to Michael Archer, he'll say that we're all chasing phantoms of the night, and that we're all, seeing UFOs and Bigfoot and ghosts and all that rubbish, because he's such a polite man when he talks about this stuff. And there's an image of the late great Sid Slee, Wendy's father, who passed away a few years ago. I never got to meet, but I've certainly had some good chats with Wendy over the years, and caught up with her a few times when we've been over that way in WA, and found some great evidence and some awesome stories from a lot of people over there. And look, we had how many sightings in WA last year? About 5 or 6 in the end. So there's obviously still tigers there. Here's another thing. This is 1986, before extinction was declared. Don't know if you can see that. Rare and endangered, it says. But this was March the 10th, 1986. So extinction being declared on the 7th of September, 1986. So yeah, I've got some reading to do here. There's also some correspondence here that was sent off to fisheries. I'm sure there'll be some interesting things in there to add a bit more fuel to the fire. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, folks. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, look forward to having another chat with you sooner rather than later. Take it easy. Cheers.